All right. So, welcome to our gentle yoga class. And it's going to be exactly that this morning. It's funny how our gentle yoga classes have grown while all the other ones are like, people don't really want to move that much right now. So it's actually really cool that people are listening to their bodies. It's really important. Lie down on your backs. We're not going to put support under the spine today. We're just going to lie down and either begin in Shavasana with your legs just straight out, palms facing up if that's comfortable for you. If it's not comfortable to lie flat on your back, then just please bend your knees and let the knees hang together. And look at this next hour as your gift to yourself for starting your day off right, to kind of giving you this defense against any stress or tension or anxiety throughout the day. Begin to connect with your breath. Notice the parts of the body that are touching the mat. And also notice any sounds or smells happening around you. And before we begin, uh, a small breathing practice, have your intention for today's class to be no expectations, do the best that you can, and just find freedom in this practice that you have. It's important to have discipline, but not to the point where it doesn't bring you joy. So, whatever it is that brings you joy in your mat today, do that. And then we're going to begin a 3-part breath. All three of you have practiced the regular breath, the 2-part breath. So, we're going to practice what's called the 3-part breath. And it goes a little bit deeper in focusing internally. And what it looks like is when we breathe in, we focus on belly, chest, and then throat. So we can fill the lungs as complete, like as full as possible. And then we just exhale, everything releases. So take a deep breath in to begin, just a deep breath in, separate the lips and exhale. And then inhale belly, chest, throat. Exhale. Inhale belly, chest, throat, and exhale. Continue doing this. If it brings any sort of anxiety on at all, just go back to regular breathing. Otherwise, we're going to do this for at least 5 rounds or so. Don't force the new breath coming. We're still moving slowly. And when you're finished with that 5th round, and If you lost count, that's fine. 4, 5 rounds, 6 rounds, whatever. Go back to your regular passive breath. And then notice any differences. You might notice that your inhale's a little bit deeper at this point. The reason we want to engage at the belly and the chest is because in the act of respiration, when we're breathing, it's a relationship between the organs and the breath and the diaphragm and all of this stuff. If we are not engaging the belly and the chest, our organs kind of miss out on that churning motion to keep them healthy and toned and happy. So deep breathing always comes back to that for our health, mentally and physically. Go ahead and bend the knees one at a time if they're not already. Bring the bottoms of the feet together and let's let the knees hang out to the sides. And at the same time, you're going to bring the arms overhead, maybe interlace the fingers and just stretch. You can keep the arms overhead. We're going to take a few breaths here, or you can bring the arms down. But bring your awareness to the hip sockets and see that you're letting go of all gripping there. We're going to take 3 more breaths here in our supine cobbler's pose. And if your hands are not down, bring them down and use them to support the feet, the knees coming back together. You can press the feet together to engage the adductors to help you, the inner thighs, and then straighten the legs. We're going to do crescent stretch on our mat. So take your right ankle to the right corner of the mat and then cross over with your left ankle. Grab your left wrist overhead and lean the body to the right. So opening the left side of the body, breathe into the left side of the rib cage, the left lung. Feel that part of the body expand as you inhale. One more breath here. And then come back to center. Bring your left heel to the left corner, cross over with the right, grab the right wrist, lean to the left. Breathe into the right side of the body and feel that expansion, that spaciousness. One more. Come back to center. Bend the knees. So 2 options here. You can just bring the knees up towards the body and rock left to right, or you can cross the legs as if you're in Sukhasana or easy pose and just pull the feet towards the body because that feels really good too. If you're pulling the feet towards the body, after a few rocks, make sure you switch your feet. So we're just keeping it balanced here. And then come back to stillness. We'll bring the feet back down and roll to your right. Push yourself up to a seated position. Bring the legs out in front of you. Remember, if you need some sort of lift here, Put it under the sitting bones. And that's not to, it's not for the flexibility part. It's not so you can get closer to your feet. It's to protect your spine, to get that tilt in the pelvis. Okay, if you want to use your strap here for this forward fold we're going to do, go ahead and get your strap. Engage the legs, get the flesh away from the sitting bones, get nice and grounded and tall. Flex the feet, so toes come towards the shins. Inhale, lengthen through the top of the head or the crown of the head. And then exhale, fold. As you fold forward, keep the shoulder blades drawing towards each other. Even if they're sore, Robin, still do this. We're still making them work. If you can grab the feet, grab the feet. Not required though. In fact, Robin, I don't want you to grab the feet because we don't want to add any stretch there, just support. Keep the chin lifted, headed towards the shins. So the cervical spine stays neutral. We're going to take 3 more breaths here. Keep pressing the backs of the legs into the mat. Keep the abdominals engaged. And then inhale, come all the way up. So we're going to do normally we'll do a Janu Shirshasana prep, which is head on knee pose prep. And Valerie, you might end up doing this. So keep that in mind. But if you're able to take your foot behind you, I want you to take your foot behind you. If your foot is behind you, the heel is touching the side of the body. The top of the foot is as close to the mat as possible. So in other words, we're not bending the ankle out this way, okay? We want to keep that lined up. And then get the knees as far apart as possible. Unless you're doing the which you're familiar with. Robin, I'm not sure which one you're choosing, but this goes for anyone taking the modification. Breathe. If you have a tendency to hold tension in your trapezius up here, they're soft. One more breath here. See if you can go a little further. And then inhale all the way up. Carefully bring this right foot forward. Even grab underneath the knee, like really help guide your leg. And bring that left leg back. Separate the knees as far as you can. Janu Shirshasana option for the other side, so the left foot would come to the inner thigh. Move the torso over the right leg, inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, fold. Right leg stays active. And breathe. See if you can go a little bit deeper. We'll take 3 more breaths here, shoulders back. That left sitting bone, if you're in this prep version, let it lift. Don't try to press it towards the floor. Inhale, come all the way up. Bring the left foot forward. And we're all ending up here in our staff pose again. Separate the feet. So there's many ways you can do this. If you are feeling a curve in the spine right now, just keep your hands behind you. You can even have your hands on blocks just to help keep the chest lifted and the feet flexed. I know you can't see my feet here, but they are flexed. And if you're tight, you're gonna still feel a stretch happening. In fact, I've been instructed to stretch this area as well. If you feel like you can keep the integrity of the spine and bring your hands forward, start here. Shoulders are back. And then if you feel like you can go further, walk the hands further. Just go as far as your body's letting you and breathe. Legs are active. So it's going to feel like you're lifting your butt, your glutes. Don't drop the head. Keep the chin aiming towards the floor. And then wherever you are, inhale, lift up. Start to walk the hands to the right. And then exhale. If you can grab the outside of the foot, go for it. If not, that's okay. Again, let the left sitting bone lift. Keep the SI joint happy. Inhale up, walk to the left, and exhale, fold. Air quotes, fold. Inhale, come up, back to center. Put your hands underneath your knees and lift the legs up. Come into easy pose. All right, right fingertips to the floor. Inhale the left arm up. Exhale, lean to the right. Left hand down. Inhale the right arm up. Exhale, lean to the left. Come back to center. We're bringing both hands together, interlace the fingers and palms up towards the ceiling. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lean to the right. Inhale back to center and reach. Exhale, lean to the left. Back to center. Bring the arms down. Right leg is going to be on the bottom, knee pointing forward. We're going to come into a twist. If what this looks like right here, the end result isn't an option for you, keep the right leg straight as we do this, okay? So left foot is going to be over the knee. You're going to bring the elbow to the outside of the knee or just hold on to the knee. Either way, the left hand is supporting you on the floor. So inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, revolve. If you're using your elbow, keep the hand active and press the elbow into the knee or grab the hand into the knee to help you revolve and lift the chest. We're going to take 3 more breaths here. Bringing your awareness to the middle of the back and the spine, the thoracic spine. See if you can revolve to the left a little bit more. And then exhale, come back to center. We start looking at our body as separate parts that we can control, which gets a little bit weird, but it's cool also. Left knee is pointing forward. We bring the right foot over the left. Try the best you can to get that foot flat on the floor, but sometimes it will not go all the way. You can just try to press it and do your best. And then decide where you are here, either elbow or knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, revolve. Right hand is supporting you. Each time you exhale, soften a little bit more into the twist. Consciously release whatever gripping you have going on in the back. See if you can go a little bit deeper. If not, that's okay. And then go ahead and release, come back to center. Unravel the legs. We're going to grab the right leg, foot, and knee area. And we're just going to draw circles with the knee joint, with the kneecap here, just to rotate that hip joint. Rock the baby, as they call it. And for the kids yoga, I always tell them you have another baby that's going to be jealous if you don't start rocking it. So switch legs. You should be able to notice the differences here too in the mobility of the hip joint. Even mentally trying to draw the circles with your knee. Go in both directions. Just try to get the full range of motion. And then go ahead and release. Come to hands and knees. Top of the right hand is going to go on the mat first for a wrist stretch. So fingers are pointing towards the knees. Make sure your left arm is set up so the hand is in front of the shoulder. And if you're not feeling a stretch here already, you can shift your weight back and you'll feel it more intensely. So just breathe here. And then release that hand, shake it out a little bit, and go to the other side. Top of the left hand, flat on the mat. Shift your weight back if you need to. Also pay attention to your shoulders. Sometimes they have a tendency to creep up by the ears. Press them back. And then release, shake it out for big hip circles. Clockwise first, front, side, back, side. Really, really get as big as you can. And then go in the other direction. Good. Bring the hands back towards the body. Begin your Betalasana or cat pose. Start with an inhale, drop the spine, and then exhale, arch. See if you can go a little bit further in either the inhale or the exhale than what you're used to. If you're already going to your edge, fine, but just, to keep you mindful on the mat, see if you can press the hands in the tops of the feet. Maybe a little bit more as you arch. Maybe release the muscles around the spine a little bit more as you dip. We'll do 3 more rounds. And then back to a neutral spine we go. Take your right foot, bring it forward. If you need some sort of extra cushion under your left knee, grab that now and put that there now. We're just going to come up onto our thigh. So hands are going to be balancing here. Spread the collarbones, lift the chest towards the ceiling. Inhale, bring the arms up. We're going to interlace the fingers. Exhale, palms up towards the ceiling and hips come forward. If you can reach back a little bit here, reach back a little bit. Two more breaths. And then exhale, bring it down. Externally rotate this right leg, coming into pigeon. And Valerie, whichever side you need to do on your back. Yeah, and you can even support your legs on your couch to make it a little bit more passive. So extend the left leg behind you. You can stay right here. You don't have to go all the way down, but if your body's ready to, go ahead. The hips are definitely warmed up. And remember, you can take a block, put it under your forehead, and just rest here. That way you don't have to use the neck muscles to hold you up. You can just rest on a block. If you feel you can keep the length of the spine and go all the way down, then go ahead and do that. You can even stack your fists on your forehead. Be sure the back leg is internally rotated. So the left leg, the toes, you don't want them to be sticking out. And the pelvis is as parallel as it can be to the floor. Breathe through any sensations you're feeling. I'm sure there's plenty. Full deep breaths, just like we did in the beginning. Not the breath control, but full, slow, deep breaths. We're going to be here for 3 more. Bring your palms back to the mat. Use the strength of your arms to lift the torso. Now, you can shift your weight a little bit onto your right sitting bone here because we're going to get a little bit crazy. You don't have to, but you can. If you want, you can bend the back leg. Just see how that feels. Take a breath or two. If you feel like you can reach back there, then reach back there. You're getting deep into the psoas here. And then go ahead and release. Curl the back toes under, lift the knee, and come into a downward facing dog. Be gentle with that right leg. Move the hip around, knee, whatever movement you need. And then we'll get ready for the other side. So come back to stillness. Drop down to your knees or your back. And then left leg forward. Actually, Valerie, yeah, you can do the lunge first, definitely. Come up to your thigh. Just rest the hands here, lift the chest. Get your footing, literally. Make sure the inner edge of the left foot is straight. And the knee is lined up over that second and third toe. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, interlace, palms up towards the ceiling, and drop the hips forward. If you can reach back, reach back. We're taking 3 breaths here. And then exhale, bring the hands down. Come into your pigeon. Left leg externally rotates. Go where you're comfortable. You're not always going to hear that phrase from me, but go where you're comfortable. Even though this pose is a little bit harder, we can take the word gentle, and you're looking for a gentle stretch here. So forearms, make sure your head is supported or the neck stays neutral, just an extension of the spine, and breathe. If you can imagine a softness in the hips and you feel a release happening, you might be able to creep the back toes a little bit further away and go a little bit deeper. You'll know if you're ready to do that though. If it seems very uncomfortable, then don't go deeper. Another breath or two. or 3. And then lift the head, palms to the floor. Support yourself so that you can bend the back knee and just stay here for a breath or two, or reach for the foot. Go ahead and release. Curl the back toes under, lift the knee, come into downward facing dog. Move the left leg however you need to. Move the hips, the shoulders, move everything the way that you need to. Compress the heels towards the floor, get your calf muscles in this party. And then come back to stillness. We're gonna walk forward. So we all meet in down dog. Inhale, look up, step forward. Exhale, fold, bending the knees as much as you need to. But also, if your weight is on the outer edges of the foot mostly, press the inner edges of the foot here, or the feet. Lift the head. Inhale, bring the arms all the way up. Palms together, exhale, hands in front of the heart. Okay, so we're in our standing pose, Tadasana. Is everyone doing okay? Yoga class, Zoom sign language. Like thumbs up really is helpful. It is. Okay, to sun salutation, Surya Namaskar A. So at the front of your mat, we don't want to skip out on Tadasana. Just feel that alignment in the body, pressing the ball mounds of the big toes, lifting the arches, strengthening the ankles. Feel the quadriceps, the glutes, everything engage. Notice where your weight is in the body. Some of us have a tendency to shift the weight forward. Sink the femurs back. Lift the chest. Smooth the shoulder blades down the back. And feel a relaxation in the hands. Just let them be soft. Now inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, fold. Drop the head completely. Inhale, look up. Get a nice flat back. And then exhale, chaturanga. Use your knees if you want to. Elbows touch the sides of the body. Good, evenly lower. Inhale, lift to cobra. And then exhale, downward dog or child's pose for 5 breaths. Your choice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, look up, step forward. And then exhale, fold. Move with the exhale. Drop the head. Inhale all the way up. And then exhale, hands in front of the heart. Back to Tadasana. We're going to make this second one a little bit different. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, fold. Drop the head. Inhale, look up. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, come back to chaturanga. Lower all the way to the ground. Nice, slow, even navel to spine. Good. And now we're going to inhale to Cobra, but we're going to take 3 breaths in Cobra. So what I want you to do before you lift actually is bring your hands more towards the lower ribs. Press the tops of the feet. Elbows stay straight back. We're taking 3 breaths here. And then lower, rest on your right cheek, rest your arms. Bring your hands back to the mat, but bring them to the edges of the mat so they're a little bit further away from the body now. We're going to make the legs heavy and strong, and then inhale, lengthen the spine and make the heart light. So lift your heart, lift through the crown of the head, 3 breaths. And then rest on the left cheek, rest the arms. Bring the hands back to the floor. This time they go on the outsides of the mat, fingertips, like you're holding cupcakes. You're not smashing or bending the fingers. Fingertips are light on the floor, as light as they can be. Engage the legs, press the tops of the feet into the floor, press the pelvis into the floor, inhale, lift. 3 breaths. And lower. We're going to come back into child's pose. So you can bring your forehead to the mat and then lift yourself. Big toes together, knees apart. And if you want to rest the arms here, just grab the bottoms of the feet and breathe. Lots of hip opening today, lots of heart opening today. We have a lot of stuff to release. If you find yourself being emotional later, you can attribute it to probably this yoga class. One more breath here. If your hands are not on the mat, bring them back to the mat. Inhale, lift. We're coming to hands and knees, and then curling the toes under. Exhale, down dog. If you're down dog right now, if you have your knees bent, that's good. This is meant to be a spine lengthener, but what I want you to do is engage the abdominals. Really, really, really good. Bring your feet 1 step further in towards the hands and press the heels towards the mat. So your back is going to be in a little bit of flexion here, and that's okay. You're going to be engaging the abdominals to protect the back and the spine. I just want you to get the back of your legs here for a moment. And then walk the hands closer, coming towards the feet. Drop the head, shoulders back. Inhale, come all the way up. Nice and slow, slow, slow. Palms together, exhale, hands in front of the heart. Release the hands, coming to mountain pose. We're gonna do eagle. So a few options for the arms for eagle. I think all of you are pretty okay with it. I'm trying to remember, but when we're doing the eagle arms, we're wrapping them up. The fingertips are up towards the ceiling. Palms are trying to get the palms together as much as we can. But another option is just to bring the forearms together or to hug yourself. We don't hug ourselves enough, so this is good too. We begin in mountain pose. Lift the left heel. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, bend at the elbows. Right elbow comes over left, and we wrap it up. Now you're going to have a focus beyond the wrists. Your wrists are going to look skinny and blurry. That's where we want to be with our gaze. Continue maybe bringing the left toes over the right foot. And if you're feeling balanced enough here, you can bring the leg all the way across, left on top of right, and hook the foot as much as you can. If you're good here, you can start to maybe come down into a squat. Remember, you can stay right where you were in the beginning also. If you're squatting down, keep the weight in the heel of the right foot. We're going to breathe here, 3 breaths. Do the best you can. And then when you're done, just release, come back to mountain pose. Nice. If you ever want to get crazy at home and do that, you can sit on the wall. We do this in our Align class sometimes. Sit on the wall, and then we come into eagle. And that way we have the wall helping us. Your legs are really working. You can come all the way down. It's pretty intense. Okay, because I know you guys are practicing yoga at home on your own all the time, right? Thumbs up. Okay, other side. Lift the right heel. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend at the elbows. Take the left elbow over the right. Sometimes people literally open their arms and fling the arms together too. So that's another way to enter. Have your gaze be on the wrists. And before you try to go further in your balance, make sure you have your focus point and you have your breath. Maybe cross the right toes over the left foot. Start to sink the femurs back. If you feel like you can go a little bit further, go for it. And breathe. And when you're done, go ahead and just release back to mountain pose. Good. Separate the feet, toes point forward, hands on the waist. Engage the legs. If you want your block here to come down to the block, you can. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Hands to the floor or the block. Now, the first thing here, if you're noticing rounding in your back, the first thing to do is to separate your feet just a little bit more because your hamstrings need a little bit more space. And then you can lengthen through the crown of the head, activate the legs, and then maybe hinge forward a little bit more. Whether you're on the block, fingertips or hands, shoulders go back, and the neck releases here. The head is dangling. We're going to take 5 breaths. Continue to lift the sitting bones, protecting the hamstring attachments. That way you're getting into the belly of the muscle. See if you can dangle your head a little bit more. Even nod yes and no a little bit. Make sure it's completely released. And now we're going to inhale, look up. Exhale, bring your hands to your waist. And then inhale, come all the way up. Good. Bring the feet back together. Come to the front of your mat. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step back, chaturanga. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, child's pose. We're going to take 5 breaths here and then come on to our backs. If your hands are not on the mat, go ahead and bring the hands to the mat and then inhale, lift the head. You'll sit up just so you can cross at the ankles. Actually, before we do that, I want to do something with you guys. Before we lie on our backs, curl the toes under, because we didn't really like to pay attention to the feet. Curl the toes under and sit back on your heels. This is going to be painful for some of us. If your toes are on the mat and this is okay, try to spread all the way through the pinky toes. Get every single toe squishing onto the mat. And if this is painful, you can stay here and just kind of move into it slowly. We're going to take 3 more breaths here. This is our thunderbolt pose with adding the toes. It's called toe torture pose, toe torture asana. You can sink once you're kind of comfortable here. And if this is not difficult for you, just sink. Just see how far you can stretch your toes. And then come back to the mat, hands to the mat. Tap the tops of the feet on the mat just to kind of loosen them up, back up on the other side. And then cross at the ankles, have a seat. You're going to keep the feet together. We've done this before. Feet together, toes pointed, hands together. We're going to engage the abdominals and lie down slowly until the arms are overhead. You can take a stretch. And then bring the arms down, bend the knees. Actually, you just need to bend the right knee first. Left leg can stay straight. Interlace your fingers behind the right knee and bring the knee as close to the chest as possible or as close to the body. Keep the right foot flexed. And once you have your knee as close as you can, soften the shoulders and begin to lift the foot up towards the ceiling. Just straightening the leg as much as you can. We're going to breathe here. Keep the left leg active. So you'll notice that the pelvis kind of collapses. Lift the right side of the pelvic floor to keep the pelvis level. Another breath or two here. And then drop the heel back towards the body. Take your left hand to the knee and come into a twist. So knee is going off the left side of the mat and the right arm is going to extend or bend at the elbow. Exhale, come back to center. Straighten the right leg, interlace your fingers behind the left knee. Knee comes towards the body. Shoulders are soft. Bring the heel up towards the ceiling. This is just another way to stretch the hamstrings to make sure that we're not at the ends of the muscles, tearing those fibrous ends. This is really getting deep into the belly of the muscles. Be sure your shoulders are soft here. I'm going to take a few more breaths. Right leg stays active. Even out the pelvis. And then drop the heel towards the body. Right hand comes to the knee, so you can come into a twist on the other side. So the hips are stacked, the knee is off the right side of the mat. This is a really deep twist. Only do what your body's letting you do, but go as far as your body will let you go. We want to keep that mobility in the spine. We want to actually gain as much mobility in the spine as possible. It doesn't have to be the story, we get older, we lose the mobility. My spine is more mobile now than it was in my 20s. So the left arm is either extended or bent at the elbow. Either way, however your arm is, be sure that the palm is facing up so you have that external rotation of the shoulder to get it closer to the ground. We'll take another breath or two here. And then exhale back to center. We're going to bend both knees, grab the insides of the legs or the bottoms of the feet and come into happy baby here. Press the knees towards the floor. Rock left to right. And then go ahead and come back to stillness. You're going to bring the knees together, drop the feet. If you want to take one more stretch here, you can. Get ready for your Shavasana. We'll all meet back on the mat in our corpse pose. Palms are facing up, ankles are separated, so the feet can just hang out towards the sides or to the sides. Take some deep breaths here. And if you want to go back to that breath we were practicing in the beginning, that pranayama of belly, chest, throat, just to kind of recalibrate the breathing, coming back into that natural rhythm of the inhale and exhale. Something small you can focus on during the Shavasana if your mind is wandering, and you do bring it back to the breath, of course. But you can notice how the pelvic floor and the diaphragm work with each other in the breathing process. When you inhale, you feel like a slight tilt in the pelvis, and you'll feel the diaphragm go up towards the heart. And as you exhale, you'll feel the pelvic floor and the diaphragm contract towards each other. So you inhale, they tilt apart, exhale, come together. Use this opportunity to let go, to release anything that is not serving you, big, small, today, yesterday, 20 years ago, whatever it is. And just be.